Welcome back to What Arty Noobs with General Disturbance. This is the Tortoise. It's the Tier 9 British tank destroyer. It's located on the north spawn of Erlenberg Assault, so it's the defending team, and it's under the command of Fluffylilkitten of REBRN. Well, if you've just seen the previous video, that was with the Object 704. This is the British equivalent. It's a true assault tank destroyer, and I've actually seen it and touched it. Yes, this is basically one of the 5 vehicles, I believe, that were actually made as prototypes to test it out to see if they could actually build one. And there's one in the Tank Museum at Bovington, so you can actually go and have a look and see how big it is. It's a monster. It is huge. The tracks are about 1 meter wide. More than a metre wide, about a metre and a half, and it's got a fantastic gun as well. It's a it's not the 152, it's a 120mm gun. Yep, get it right. 120mm, capable of 400 alpha. Lovely shot straight through the 777 version 2, who fires one back and actually does hit us in the weak spot. Confirm that. Yep, he went straight through the machine gun port. But I think Fluffylilkitten is going to return the favour and tracks him. So long as you can hide that machine gun turret, you're okay. It's very difficult to pen a Tortoise unless you can pen it from the rear, or the rear sides, or the machine gun port. Yep, got that one in the lower plate of the 50 TP, and you got a high roll for 478. Pumps another one in, gets another hit in the 50 TP, but this time it was a low roll, and the Renegade did get a shot into our machine gun port. And I think the 777 is going to do the same again. Oh, he bounced! And Fluffy's got his first kill. He just took out the 777. Now, the angle's very tight, but he still gets it in to the 50 TP. The Renegade's coming up for another try. Go for the machine gun port. Ah, no, he didn't get it. He actually hit the roof of the Renegade and bounced off. But he can go through the lower plates, and the reload is actually quite fast. Standard reload, 6.81 seconds. Fluffy's got 5.52. Now, Fluffy has had this a while, and he's played it a lot, so he does know what he's doing. And he's got, oh, look at that, it's actually some lovely shots in the lower plate of that 50 TP. As well as in the front of the vehicle as well, at a very tight angle. And he got the kill shot there. So the 50 TP is no longer in the game. Now he's going to push, try and get that. Oh, it's a TS5 now. That's a whole different ball game though, because it's the same gun basically, but it has got the same sort of weak spots that we've got in terms of cupolas. Now, Renegade, punch it through the side. Gets it, 438, which is a high roll. New enemies are turning up, and they're becoming wrecks. Another one into the cupola. He's trying to hide that cupola. Oh, the Renegade fails to get the pen this time. And we do take a shot aside from the RU-251, the German light. But we do punch another one into the TS5. And he punches one back into the Renegade. The Tortoise is great for firepower. 3,525 hit points per minute. The DPM is very, very high indeed. Now, that is one of the Italian tank destroyers. It's the Vipera, and he punches it through on the sides where it's weaker. That one ricocheted off because the angle was wrong. Trying to go for the lower plate instead. Punches it through, gets a high roll. He just got hit by the enemy Arty, but it was only a splash, only 10 hit points. So and his teammates are trying to say, pull back. Now we're halfway through the game because, well, nearly halfway through. We've got another minute before we're halfway. But this is an assault game, so it's up to the enemy to try and seize our cap or to kill all of our tanks. I think the Waffenträger is asking us to pull back so he can get a few shots in. because he doesn't have any damage of his own, or at least minimal damage. He might have been helping us a little whilst we were close. Oh! Well, that was very close. That was a stun. It zipped over the top of us, almost hit us. And so it was good shooting by the M40, M43, but he didn't hit the target. And normally I would hit the target. Fluffy checks his damage. You can see already that quite a few shots have actually gone for the cupola. One missed, another one went through, and of course he did have one earlier that didn't go through. And you can see a lot of shots actually aimed at the superstructure, and you're not going to get through that because that is very, very strong armor indeed. 273 millimeters of armor, incredibly strong. It's not all the way at the front, but it is strong enough to put the enemy off. Now it looks to me like he's going to try and take out the enemy Waffenträger, who's in the castle at the moment. Fluffy keeps checking around just to see has he got the right angle to get the Waffenträger. He's going to hide in the bushes. Now remember, this is only 10 minutes this battle, so you've only got a limited amount of time to do some damage. But the enemy is going to be pressured soon to actually start pulling more kills out of the hat, and he might find it difficult. Yes, he's got the Waffenträger. Oh! Unfortunately, Concept 1B got there before Fluffy did. So he missed the opportunity to get a kill there. Our Waffenträger is still untouched, which is surprising because the enemy does have an Arty and the Waffenträger's got no armor, so if they'd seen him they would have fired at him. Okay, we're one down now, but we're up on hit points, so we do have the advantage of having tanks who are much healthier. Now, as I said, they only built 5 of them. One of the problems they actually encountered with the Tortoise was it was so heavy, so wide, it would have been difficult to actually get across the bridges in Europe. And in fact, that's a problem that the Germans have with some of their tanks as well. When they were heavy tanks, you needed to have a very strong bridge to get them across, and that kind of limited where you could actually take your tank, because if you took it to the wrong place, you wouldn't get across. And some tanks, some German tanks, are actually designed so they can actually ford a river. The mouse could actually go under a river. Okay, here we go. Punches one at the RU-251 but doesn't penetrate him, which is surprising considering that thing has very little armor. But he's got the rear of the Vipera, and the Vipera's down just like that. One shot. Now he's going to go for the other guys. Hello! And he's just killed the TS5. He's now going to do the other TS5. Nope, didn't get a chance to on that one. Okay, he's decided he's going to go ahead. There's a Borsig over here as well as an RU-251. Okay, there you go. And he pumps one into the Borsig. Gets a high roll for 430. He's really making mincemeat of the enemy. 7,000 hit points. Plus he's got 4,400 blocked. What? Oh, Borsig, what were you thinking? He just drove out in front of a Tortoise's gun, and of course, well, Fluffy's going to punch around him. There's only 3 enemies left. One of them's up the east side, a T-30's on the west side, and the Arty must be down, well, I think he's down on the west side of the map. It might be a good idea for us to start turning round and punching holes in the ones up on either side now. There's only 4 left on our team, and we're into the last minute. Fluffy wants that Arty, I think. I think you're too far away to get him. He's probably on the west side. Now I think actually Fluffy entered this battle with standard ammo. I don't believe he actually used any premium. Or if he did, he used it all up, but I don't think he did actually. Oh my god, the Arty is on this side, which is very unusual. Hello, Mr. Arty. One shot, that's all it takes, and that is a Top Gun. 15 seconds left. There's no way he's going to get any more kills, but he can have the satisfaction of knowing he carried his team to victory with a massive 7,500 hit points or more. And that's it. Game over. Here's the end of battle results, and that was a first ace tanker for Fluffylilkitten of REBRN in the Tortoise. Yes, you only get the scrolls underneath the first time, and he's got them this time, so that was a first ace. He also got a fire for effect for doing more damage than the hit points of his own vehicle, sharpshooter for getting 10 or more consecutive shots on the enemy, a shellproof for blocking more damage than the hit points of his own vehicle, duelist for taking down 2 tanks who damaged him in the game, a bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits, in fact he got 7, and he got a hand of God for surviving the battle, having received damage from 4 different enemy tanks or more, as well as 3 other medals, battle hero medals. He got the high caliber for dealing the most damage in the game, a Top Gun for getting at least 6 kills, and he got a steel wall as well for blocking the most damage in the game, at least 11 hits and surviving the battle. His win rate was 15,364. That's more than Super Unicum. That is carrying the game skill, that level. So very, very well done. Let's have a look at team score. Well, he's definitely the highest with 7,574. The second highest damage was the Concept 1B on his own team with 4,847, who stole that Waffenträger away from him just at the split moment. He was ready to shoot. He wasn't lined up totally and dialed in on the Waffenträger, but the Concept 1B had been fighting the guy for a little while, and the Waffenträger backed up, and of course then the Concept stole him away from Fluffy, because Fluffy would have taken him if he'd been given the chance. The third highest damage went to the RU-251 on the enemy team. Yet he did get one swipe into the side of Fluffy when he showed his side to him while he was street fighting. He got 3,716 hit points. When it came to kills, Fluffy got that. He got 6 kills. The nearest player to him on the enemy team was the Panzer 58 Mutz and their T-13. They only got half as many as Fluffy. And everyone else only got 1 kill apiece or nothing. When it came to base XP, again he's got the highest with 1,622. The second highest was Concept 1B, 1,202. And those were the only 2 players who managed to make it over 1,000. With the SU-14-2 getting, well, actually he's behind the RU-251 on the enemy team. So he must have been doing a lot of spotting to get 798 and beat the SU-14-2 on our team. In fact, let's have a quick look. Yes, 3,660 hit points of spotting. So he was particularly effective for his team. Fluffy fired 26 rounds. Every shot hit the target, but only 21 of them actually penetrated. I think he had a few shots where he went for the cupola and like on the Renegade, and he didn't get it through because I think it hit the structure, but it just didn't penetrate the cupola itself. 7,574 hit points of damage, all of it done at close range. He received 16 hits from the enemy, 5 of which penetrated. Those are the ones that went for the cupola. 11 non-penetrations. Those are the green marks that were scattered all over the hull. 4 hits by way of splash damage as well, yes, where players ended up giving up on firing standard rounds and decided to fire HE at him instead. And of course, the Arty tried at least once. In fact, actually, I think they tried twice to take him out, but they failed. And 4,480 hit points of damage blocked by armor. He spotted 2 enemy vehicles, damaged 8 of the enemy, killed 6 of them, and he earned 93,995 credits on a free-to-play, a premium account, not a free-to-play, 76,998 from Holiday Ops, 170,993 credits altogether, and after repair, ammunition, resupply and consumables, he actually ended up with 20,935 credits profit. 25 bonds from that game, so mission completion, 2,433 XP, times 5 for the first victory of the day. 12,165 experience points altogether. So that was a particularly profitable one when it came to experience points. Let's have a quick look at the armor profile for this thing again. You can see it's incredibly strong. This is the collision model. So you're looking at the practical thickness, and you can see their impacted armor 273 and the effective armor is 273. But look at this armor around the mantlet area. It's incredibly strong, 304 millimeters. You really wouldn't want to put a shell in there because it's just not going to go through. On this side, 273.1 again. The upper plates and the lower, well, the upper plate is 101.6, but it's incredibly well angled, and as such it gives you about 250 millimeters. It's very difficult to see the lower plate from the front because it's, well, practically non-existent. And if you try to fire in the over here, it's 215 millimeters, but it's still coming out at about 267. This is the weak spot. Only 171.5 millimeters, and you should be able to pen that with a tier 9 or tier 10 tank, or even a tier 8 for that matter. But there's very few weak spots on this vehicle other than that machine gun port. So that is what you should be aiming for. If you cannot get it through there, then, well, I suppose you could try and overmatch the roof, but you're going to have difficulty. And that cupola, well, that's very, very difficult to get through that one as well. So I think if I remember correctly, that's not the commander. There's the gunner's view sight. I think this is the commander's viewport here. So, or his, where the commander's, yes, visual sights are. But yes, very difficult to pen this unless you can get to the side, and that's what the RU-251 did. He fired around through the side, and you can see it's only 152.4 millimeters, but because it's so flat-sided, it should go straight through. And the engine bay, even easier, 101.6 coming out at 102. The rear of the vehicle's 101.6 coming out at 102. And from the roof, yes, if you can land an Arty shell on this, it's 57.2 millimeters coming out effective armor 70 millimeters. So some Artys are going to have a bit of difficulty trying to pen this. So yes, you're just smothering him in HE. Even that M40, M43, and he missed and splashed Fluffy. So he did have difficulty trying to get in. Let's have a look at the live model. Again, you can see incredibly strong. All that red, even a 120 millimeter round is going to have difficulty trying to get through, except for the cupola. He'll get through the sides, he'll get through the rear, but he won't get through the front. And even if you angle this thing, but the problem with angling is that Fluffy, or the Tortoise driver, has only got 20 degrees either side to try and hit you. So that is a bit of a problem, that if you're outside 40 degrees from overall, then he's probably not going to be able to aim at you at all, and he'll have to turn his vehicle. So if you can keep him tracked and then try and get behind him, then you should do some damage. That's if, of course, you can't hit the cupola. It's actually the loader's cupola, that one with the machine guns on. That's the best thing to hit because it's easiest to do damage on. Let's have a quick look at the modules. Okay, well, we can see that I was wrong. That's not the that's the driver's area here over on the far left side. The tank commander is actually on the cupola at the back. That's that one with the raised viewports. He's right at the back. The radio operator's just in front of him with the radio behind him. The gunner's down. He's got that big viewport there to actually aim the gun. Two loaders are on the other side of the vehicle, and the driver, of course, over here. So I was wrong on that. I thought that the commander was over this side. He's actually over this side. You can see the engine's in the rear. It's sandwiched between two fuel tanks, as is conventional, but the transmission is right up front in the vehicle, so there must be a drive shaft going through. There's a deep ammo store right in the depths of the vehicle. Practically, I suppose you could hit it, but it's much easier to hit this ammo rack at the back of the main cabin. And if you, well, you're not going to be able to get around through the front. If you can get it through the sides, you just aim for where the vehicle goes up at the back. If you aim for that area there, you should be able to get the ammo rack. And certainly if you aim from the rear of the vehicle and shoot into him, then just above the engine deck, and that's going to get the ammo rack to make it go bang. So I hope you enjoyed that replay. Congratulations to Fluffy on getting your first ace tanker in this vehicle. Now you've got the problem of trying to mark it. That's where it gets really difficult. Because you see, a lot of people play the Tortoise and they play it rather well, which means you've got very, very high standards to match. But if you keep going with games like this, it won't be long before you have 3 marks of excellence. Because this is the sort of scale of skill needed to get a 3rd mark of excellence. So I hope you enjoyed that replay. If you did, please give this video a like. Do subscribe to our channel. Leave a little comment down below because it feeds the algorithm. And thank you for watching.